All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for coming to this Zoom webinar. It's a pleasure for me to be able to interview Darren. And we are going to talk about the Nourish the Children program that we have in our company. But before that, I would like to tell you a few words about Darren, how I got to know him and why I chose him and why I wanted to interview him, because we have met in January this year in London. And this program, I know that is very, very close to his heart. And also why it is going very well together is because I know how big of a heart Darren has. And I will tell you a story why. What happened in January, I went to London all alone without my team to a big event, and I didn't know anyone. We had a social gathering, and then I met Darren there. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know anything about him. He just asked my name, how I feel about this event, and where I came from. That was all. And then from that moment, Darren hold my hand and took me around, introduced me to everyone. Do you know this person? Do you know this person? This is Szuzanna. And he introduced me like he knew me from years. And I was just like, I cannot even tell you in words how appreciative I was over there, because I really felt alone. But at that moment, I felt like I am already in the family, like I've been known for years now, and it's just so at ease. So this little story really shows you how Darren is in general, and why this story goes very well with him. So the Nourish the Children program is something that I believe really shows the heart of the company as well. And what you can see on the slide, which I will give over the word soon to Darren, but you can see it writes NTC Chief Ambassador, which is a very, very beautiful and huge title. And then you will know later also what this means. But just in short, Darren joined this company 13 years ago. And actually, from 2014, he became NTC Ambassador. And then from 2018, he became NTC Chief Ambassador. So he's a huge ambassador for the Nourish the Children program. And with that said, I will give over the word to you, Darren, to explain what is this all about, how you got to know this program, and why you believe this is an important one.
Well, thank you very much for that, Szuzanna. It's great to be here with you. It was great to meet you for the first time in January. And it was also great to be with you in Marbella recently. And we got to work together, manning the sign-in desk for the white party on the Sunday night. So I imagine that most, if not all of you on this call are also affiliates with Nu Skin, just as Szuzanna and myself are. And as such, you've probably heard something about Nourish the Children, but maybe you don't know that much about it. And that's what this call today is to address, so that you can get lots of information about Nourish the Children, how you can get involved, how you can make a difference, and just be a giver too and improve lives. Because just as Szuzanna says, we are a family here in the Nu Skin business. No matter who our sponsors are, we just help and support one another regardless. And thank you for sharing that story of our first meeting and how it made you feel, Szuzanna. And that's how I think we should all strive to make one another feel anytime that we have the opportunity. So I see most people on the call are Hungarian or Bulgarian. So I'll share my limited vocabulary. Egészségedre. And for the Bulgarians not to be left out, Nastrave. And let's crack on. So a little bit of information to start with. Now, these slides are already out of date because we've got so many great people who are just donating Vitamil to children that it's gone up from the 700 million meals that's on this slide. It's over 850 million meals that have been served to children that are at risk of malnourishment and hunger in orphanages and schools, not only in Malawi, where we first started, but as you can see on the slide here, over 50 different countries. And as a result of the last 20 plus years of this program, there's now through the donations of so many generous people, over 120,000 children getting fed every day through this program. But there is still a need. There are still children out there in need outside the 120,000 that are being fed. And that's why we just want to share this message and as far and wide as we can. And hopefully some more people, hopefully some people on this call today will start donating Vitamil if they're not already, or perhaps if they are, start doing a little bit more. So this is what the program is really here to address. And there's a vicious cycle here. So the poverty, the lack of money in these families, in these poor regions of the world, means that there is malnutrition. The children are just not getting the nourishment. And that leads to the inability to learn and focus and pay attention as well, and to work as hard. And as a result, that leads to continuing poverty, and it just keeps going round and round. And our goal is to break this cycle. And through the Nourish the Children program, we are providing free food, these bags of Vitamil, via schools. And because it's done via schools, that means that the parents will send children to school if they've got a voucher to get free Vitamil, whereas perhaps they won't send them to school otherwise. They'll instead keep them at home to help, with the farming or with the babies. And even if they might choose to send one or two of their children to school, it's always going to be the boys they choose first, and the girls don't get the chance. And so through this program, the parents will send them to school if they're going to get fed there. And then we get to not only feed them physically and nourish them, but also educate and nourish their minds. And they get educational opportunity as a result. They're going to school for a start, and they're being fed. They're no longer hungry, so they can focus, pay attention. They can do well in school and get further opportunities, which provides employment opportunities that otherwise were not available to them. And through the income that they're then able to bring into the family, that begins to eradicate the poverty. So that's what we're really focused on, is breaking this whole cycle. And there's more to it than just providing food, as you can see.
Imagine a world where children can become what they were meant to be, where children have enough to eat. Thanks to you, more than 650 million servings of nutritious Vitamil have been distributed to hungry children throughout the world. When Nourish the Children was created in 2002, you responded with compassion and generosity, not only feeding kids in Africa, China, Southeast Asia, and South America, but also giving them an opportunity to thrive. It's an incredible milestone, and we're just getting started. Let's keep changing the world together, one bowl, one child at a time. At Nu Skin, we're practical optimists. When we see a problem, we come up with a sustainable solution, like the Nourish the Children initiative, NTC. Not a charity, Nourish the Children is a smart, for-profit business initiative created to alleviate childhood malnutrition. Every day, we empower 120,000 children with Vitamil, a nutrient-rich food that's strategically served at schools to help improve both attendance and learning. Local economies also benefit because jobs are created wherever Vitamil is produced. To make the program easier than ever, we've made some enhancements. Whether you purchase a 10-meal bag or the 30-meal bag, you're fueling the future of a child. And with every purchase of Vitamil, a donation now goes to the Nu Skin Force for Good Foundation, making your donation more powerful. Let's keep changing the world together. One bowl, one child at a time.
So I hope you enjoyed that. Now, I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. If you've got any questions, we're happy to answer them as we go along. So feel free to pop them in the chat there. And Szuzanna, if you want to ask any questions as we go through, just jump in, just ask. So as you can see, that video is a little bit old now. It mentioned 650, but we have since increased to over 850 million meals so far, which is just a really fantastic milestone. So let's go into a little bit of detail about how this Nourish the Children program works. We saw a brief bit of information in the video there. So this is a key part, is that in the areas where we're distributing the most Vitamil, we actually have Vitamil factories that are producing it in the local area. So you can see from the slide here, Malawi, China, Argentina, and the USA. And that means that there is jobs for people in those local areas, which helps the local economy. And it also means that there is a market in the Vitamil plant for the local farmers to sell their crops, because Vitamil is produced from the crops that grow locally. So in China, the main ingredient is rice, and in Africa and the Americas, the main ingredient is corn. So we're purchasing that from local farmers, so really helping the economy from jobs and farmers selling their produce. And then what happens is Nu Skin's customers and affiliates, we are able to purchase Vitamil via the website, just like we purchase any other products. But different from the rest of the products that we purchase, when we purchase Vitamil, it doesn't get delivered to us, because we're not only purchasing it, but we're then donating that bag or 2 bags or 10 bags of Vitamil that we've purchased. And though that just means more orders are produced in those factories and more children are getting fed. So when those bags of Vitamil and those extra ones, as a result of this conversation we're having today, next month and the month after, have been produced, then we have partners such as Feed the Children who pick up those bags of Vitamil from the factory and distribute it to the orphanages and the schools to be served to the children. And that's the process of how that part works. And if you've got any questions, just let us know. Yep, nothing in the chat right now.
Not yet.
So what a difference. It's amazing how happy these children actually are anyway, all of the time, despite the fact that they're thrilled to obviously get some good nutritious food there. But it is funny how children in the West who have got the PlayStations and the iPhones, they're always grumpy and moaning about something. But these children have got absolutely nothing, and look at their faces there.
Yes, indeed. I have seen a video when people from the company were visiting Malawi, and every one of the kids were just smiling, happy, and grateful, and it's just such a different vibe and energy over there. So
yeah, my eldest son, when he was 14, he went and spent a couple of weeks in Ethiopia.
wow.
And when he came back, he was just really touched by how they were always laughing, always smiling, and all they had was a punctured football, and yet they were happy about it. So it's it really wakes us up and makes us realize how fortunate and how lucky we are to live in the parts of the world that we do live in, and other people are not so fortunate, but look at the attitude.
Yeah, it gives you a perspective for sure.
Yeah. So how can you help? Same with so many things. And if you're in this business with us, it's just like building your business. Starting to help on the Nourish the Children side starts with you. So the people around you, they will do what they see you doing rather than what you say they should be doing. And you can start by just purchasing 1 bag of Vitamil, and even better if you put it on a subscription so that it's auto every month, just charged to your card, and one more order, 1 more bag. Each bag contains 30 child-sized meals, so it feeds a child for a month. Okay, and a bag of Vitamil is £22.34 in the UK, 23.75 euros in Europe. Or you can buy 2 bags. Or if you're currently buying 1 bag, maybe think about buying 2 bags. Now, back to the subscription, many of you may know that Nu Skin pays reward points for subscription orders. But in order to earn those points, your subscription needs to be a minimum of 50 product points. And that's a good reason to upgrade from 1 bag of Vitamil to 2, because one bag of Vitamil is 30 product points, 30 PV, and 2 bags of Vitamil is 50. So that qualifies for earning 20% back. And you're actually then going to be earning 10 product points every month, which is going to build up quickly for you to get some free goodies from Nu Skin as well as feeding children. Okay, so 2 bags of Vitamil is £37.71 or €39.57. And there's also a 5-bag option. And the 5 bags is 115 points. Okay, so that will give you 23 product points back every month. So that'll build up even quicker. So if you really want to make a difference, then these are some of the options. And for me, when I started building my business with Nu Skin, as I became more and more successful and became a brand rep and became a gold and became a lapis, each time I would increase the number of Vitamils that I was donating. And in general, I would review it from time to time and try to keep it at about 5% of my income being spent on giving back to Vitamil. So it's been up and down as incomes do vary. I think the highest I've had it so far is 42 bags per month, personally. And I look forward to increasing that further.
That's beautiful. And this also brings in, yes, your title, which is coming up, I see. Just one note on the bags. So if you look at the price, I believe it's like a very, very fair price in Europe, because if you just break it down to 30 days, like you're helping a child for 30 days, 1 full month. And if you donate 1 bag and you break it down to 30, it's not even €1 per day. I'm pretty sure we are all spending more than €1 per day if you buy yourself a chocolate, a coffee, or anything. And if you have to put it aside because now I cannot fit it, or it's not in my budget, then put €1 away every day. And then you can donate 1 bag for a child and you can give them nourished food. So yeah, it's just, I really like to see the numbers, but also break them down, because it again gives us a perspective of what is the real price of this, and you are saving a life with this, and not just coffee.
Absolutely right. And I think the coffee is always a good one, because what does a coffee cost, in Costa or Starbucks? It's like maybe €4 or €3, something like that. And when you break down that 2-bag option, that's 66 cents per meal. And you think about how frivolous we can be with money here in the West, where we have so much, and go and spend, just €3 on a coffee in the morning without thinking about it. But then when you think, that's 4 or 5 children that can get the only meal that they're going to get that day. Through this, it puts it into perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah, indeed.
And I think that, because we have so much and we have so much opportunity, we kind of have a responsibility to give a little something to those who, they just happen to be born in that part of the world, have so little.
Yeah.
So you can, if you wish to, become a Nourish the Children ambassador. And as Szuzanna mentioned, it was in 2014 that I reached that milestone. And in fact, there's one of the ambassadors from my team actually on this call here. So how do you become an ambassador? It requires donations of Vitamil totaling 16 bags per month. And that needs to be a minimum of 4 that are personally donated by yourself. And the remaining 12 can either also be personally donated by yourself or by personally sponsored customers or affiliates within your organization. So once you've got those 16 bags per month happening, it needs to happen for a minimum of 2 months. And after those 2 months, you will then be recognized by the company as a Nourish the Children ambassador with this silver colored pin. In fact, they've changed it now. It's a new design now. This is the previous design that's on the screen. But just because you've reached that 16 bags, that doesn't mean you need to stop. You can keep on going and just make sure more and more and more children are getting nourished and fed. And of course, don't stop once you've achieved those 2 months and you've got your pin. Okay, keep on going and be a 1-year ambassador, a 2-year ambassador, a 3-year ambassador, because the company recognizes these milestones as well. And you can go even further and you can become a Nourish the Children Chief Ambassador and get this kind of copper bronzy colored pin, which I've got one right here. If I hold it up to the camera. There we go.
Beautiful.
So how do you do that? You just get 3 more people in your organization, personally sponsored, to do exactly the same, to become Nourish the Children ambassadors. So you need to maintain your own NTC ambassador status and inspire 3 other personally sponsored affiliates in your team to also become NTC ambassadors. And then after 2 months of maintaining that, you will be recognized and receive that nice pin. And again, don't stop at just having 3 ambassadors. Add more and more ambassadors, and we can feed more and more children. And certainly don't stop after 2 months. Okay, just keep on going.
Yeah, so now you all know why I said Darren has a beautiful title, because yeah, I mean, after a few years reaching the first one, and then for the past 6 years, like being a chief ambassador for a full year, keeping that title, inspiring other people to do the same is just so beautiful and really shows the heart of a person. And this program, like, you are helping others, but you are also helping yourself. If you are doing the business, if you're not doing the business, it doesn't really matter. But just this extra touch, if you order, I don't know, whitening toothpaste, and then you add a vitamin bag, like, I'm pretty sure that toothpaste would taste different, because it's just the extra touch, the extra love that you give. And I don't know, this is something that is so close to my heart, and it's even hard to talk about it because it's just beautiful. And I saw also an interview with one of our founders, Sandy Tillotson, and she said when they sat down for the first time to decide how to do this business, what company to build, this was one of the first points where they said they will give back. And this company gives back from day one for the past 40 years, which is beautiful. I don't know any other company that does this. So yeah, be part of our family, or be part of the team who is donating, because it's just beautiful.
Yeah, and we're not here to talk specifically about how great the company Nu Skin is, but it's difficult not to because of what they've created here in this program that we are talking about. But it is typical of Nu Skin to be ahead of the curve, because these days corporate social responsibility is a big thing, and it is something that companies are expected to show what they're doing to give back. But 40 years ago, when Nu Skin started the Force for Good Foundation, which is their charity, and then 22 years ago when they started the Nourish the Children program, that wasn't a big trend, but they did it anyway because that's what's in their heart.
Indeed.
Okay, so I don't know if we have very many ambassadors or any chief ambassadors on this call, but if there are any who want to just say a couple of words, if you want to just raise your hand, maybe make yourself known before we move on.
I believe there is one. Let me see.
Okay, so in that case, who has been inspired already that they would like to embark on a goal of becoming a Nourish the Children ambassador? Show of hands, anybody who's been inspired to make that happen?
Me, for sure.
Yeah, good. All right, so I've got another video coming up, and this one here, you might need to grab a tissue. Thank you, Rada, for raising your hand there. I look forward to seeing your recognition and celebrating. Oh, and now Ilitza as well. Well done. Very good. Okay, so get your tissues ready. We've got another video coming.
We went out to a village in remote Malawi. We went into a little red brick schoolhouse and there found several hundred children, AIDS orphans, children with no parents who were being raised by their grandparents and their village elders in their little town. And we passed food around as there was the clamor that would accompany hundreds of kids confined in a small place. There were noises and laughter and some tears, and the smells of Africa were there. And then suddenly we started bringing the food into the room, the Vitameal, and putting it into little bowls and passing them through the audience. And these little hands would reach up and take these bowls and spoons and immediately just sit on the floor right where they were and ravenously start eating this porridge. And I wish I could take you there with me, but the smell of that corn-based porridge and blended with the smell of humanity and in that little room was an experience that I think will stay with me forever. And then there was this gripping moment when the bowls were being passed from hand to hand among the adults and handed down to these children, and the hands are reaching up, and we get back near the back of the room and somebody says, "We're out of Vitameal. That's the last of it." And there were still children who hadn't eaten. And there's this gripping. I looked around, there's tears in everybody's eyes because we hadn't got to the end of the row. I was fascinated that what happened next was the bowls got moved around and children started gathering around the bowls that were there, and they shared with each other, and everybody got something to eat in that room, it felt like. But just that, getting to that moment where we have so much. We know we have a warehouse full of Vitameal, but we ran out right there at the wrong moment. And it was a very moving thing. I walked outside to kind of collect myself and walked around the corner and looked out across the field of this little African village. And there's a trail heading out across the field, and running down this trail were dozens and dozens of people running, women with little babies strapped to their backs, little children with a bowl in their hand, running down this trail because word had gotten out into the countryside that the Vitameal was being dispensed. And inside the room there was no food left. The needs of Africa are profound, and we, that left me a little tearful. It leaves me tearful, retelling the story right now. But as I walked back into the room and kind of tried to assess the thing, I realized that in that setting with such desperate needs, still there were more smiles than tears. That the good we were doing was not enough to solve all of the world's problems, but there was joy there was happiness, there was laughter. And where there's joy and happiness and love and laughter, there's hope. And that hope that we created is something that I think the New Skin organization should take great pride in. They are bringing hope to not just a few, but to tens of thousands of people, day in, day out, month in, month out. And I just have to believe that one day some of those children are going to grow up to be leaders that will be the seeds of promise that will start to bring resolution to some of these intractable problems here. We can't solve all the problems, but those children may.
We must nourish the children today. We must nourish the children today. We must nourish the
So I hope you enjoyed that video. And
Yeah.
just as we said right at the top, it starts with you.
Mhm. Thank
So,
you.
a couple of things from that last video you may or may not have noticed. You might have seen children with the little tickets in their hands, and that's the part of the system that we use because every month the tribal leaders in the different areas of Malawi they get told how many meals are going to be allocated to their region for the month based on how many bags have been bought and donated by us. And they then issue these vouchers to the families that they know are most in need because there's not enough for everybody. And it starts off with the ones that need it the most. And the tribal leaders kind of know who they are and they dish those out. And that's how those families then choose to send their children, especially the girls, into school. And so that makes a big difference. So that's why you saw some children clutching these little tickets. But the other thing that Steve said there is that we can't solve the problems that these places have. They need to solve them for themselves. And you can't solve the same problems with the same mindset and even the same leaders who are doing the same things. And so a new generation of leaders needs to come through. A generation who have got a different mindset, who've had the experience of gratitude, because these children, they have so much gratitude for us for providing these Vitamills and changing their lives. And the hope is that by keeping these children alive, nourished, healthy, and educated, they can go on, and we have a scholarship program as well, where they can go on to further and higher education. And maybe some of these will become the next generation of leaders with a different mindset and a different attitude that can actually make the changes that need to be made on the ground in these countries. Because there are enough resources, they're just not being utilized in what most of us would think is the right way.
Wow. I have one story to add here because one of the leaders in Hungary, Andrea, most of you know her, she said that when she was traveling, she went to Malawi, and then when they were having, I think, a meeting or around the hotel, there was a lady who just, I think she was the one who was in front desk maybe, or the point is that she was working there. And then they met, and then Andrea said, we are here because of this, because of through this program. And then that lady said that she grew up on Vitamil. Imagine that meeting, like you are donating for years, and then you see this woman, she's working, she's educated, her life turned around, and then she said she's super, super grateful for this program because this was the food that she grew up on. And
Yeah.
it's just like so touching. I mean, yeah, so it really works. It does. You can see the progress, you can see the results, and
Yeah, and you can imagine how different. That's just one person that Andrea happened to meet, but
yeah,
she met her working in a hotel in South Africa. And her life must be so different compared to how it would have been if she hadn't been given the Vitamil vouchers and sent to school and didn't get an education and just stayed at home helping with the babies and the cooking.
Hmm.
It's completely amazing, isn't it? And I remember from that story, remember hearing that from Andrea myself. This lady told her that we are known by them as the New Skin Angels.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so I really hope that's been helpful for many of you. Certainly, some of you I've seen already from the raising of hands have been inspired even more to go and achieve that goal and become an NTC ambassador. So really look forward to seeing those recognitions and those celebrations. But for all of you, whatever your level of ambition, I hope you've been inspired to perhaps add one or more Vitamills onto your own ADRs, and you're equipped a little better to share about Nourish the Children with customers and affiliates and anybody that you come across on your journey to help bring even more Vitamills to more children.
Thank you very much, Darren. This was a beautiful meeting. I'm so happy we did this, and yeah, I'm very, very grateful we could talk about this. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you everyone who joined. So we will share the recording later, and then you can rewatch or you can share with your team, because I think it's a beautiful message. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.